guys, it's Caitlin here and welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing a speed build. I have been uploading a lot of speed builds recently. Now that I have got internet back and I'm back on YouTube, a lot of my builds have been speed builds because that's mainly what I pre-recorded while I was gone. For those of you guys who do watch my LP, I recently mentioned in one of my other videos that I have sort of let that go a little bit. I haven't really been working on it because I'm sort of lost for ideas. I do hope to pick it up eventually. I will see though if I will. I'm not too sure whether I will. It will be a shame for it to go to waste, so I'm thinking that I will try to somehow figure out some way that I can bring it back and make it more interesting, because that's the reason why I stopped doing it. I felt like it was not going anywhere. The story wasn't really progressing, and I didn't really have many ideas. It was my first LP, so I guess that's to be expected. So I do want to still try and give it another shot, but for now I am just going to focus on speed builds until I can come up with something that, you know, some sort of storyline that I enjoy and that I think you guys will enjoy as well. So yeah, today the speed build is actually something a little bit more ambitious than what I would usually attempt here on my channel. I really did enjoy doing this. I'm exactly like you guys though. I don't know what the end result is yet because I have not completed it. So you guys are pretty much seeing almost as much as what I have already seen while I've been building this. There is another part. This will probably come out in several parts. I'm quite a slow builder. I know for other people it would usually maybe take like 2 parts or 3 parts for them to release the entire build, but I'm thinking it could be anywhere from 3 to 4 parts for me to complete this entire build. So yeah, I am excited for the end result. I still have no idea what it would look like. This is my very first time doing something like this. However, I did do like a couple practice runs or things like that before I actually came up with my final little concept. So yeah, I think I'm relatively happy with it at the moment as it sits. I don't think I will put any screenshots at the end, simply because there isn't really a screenshot to show you guys of a full building, but you guys will definitely, I will definitely have loads of screenshots at the very end when it's all completed and things like that. And before I continue talking, I do realize that I have forgotten to mention what kind of build this is, and it is actually going to be a castle build. So it's very exciting, and yeah, it's my first time ever actually not only attempting to do a castle kind of build, but it's actually also my first time ever doing something that's kind of like fantasy, you know, that's sort of, is there another word for fantasy? I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's my first kind of fantasy build, so I'm excited to show you guys. And yeah, also before I continue on talking about the video and things like that, I really just want to quickly give a shout out to a couple of people here on my channel, because I am sort of new to YouTube. I've been doing it for a few months now, and I will say there have been a couple of people who have been supporting me basically for almost the entire time that I have been running my channel, and I really just want to say thank you to them, because sometimes if you do YouTube or you're thinking about it, sometimes it can get a little discouraging, because like anything in life, when you're doing something and you're not seeing much progress, you start to wonder whether what you're doing is worth it, or whether there's something that you're not doing right, or you could do better and things like that. And sometimes it does get a little discouraging when you're not making any progress. And I was sort of feeling that way last week, and I felt like I wasn't really making much progress, and there were a couple of people who constantly comment on my videos, and they share you know, tweets on Twitter and things like that related to some of my videos, and it really does help me to know that I am making progress. just at a slower rate than other people, and you know, if I keep at it, then hopefully I will continue to progress. And so those people I want to say thank you to and give a shout out to is Zoe from 8 Cups of Tea, and also also Sugar Plum Sims. I apologize, I don't actually know your name. I have, you know, I really like your builds, but I don't know, I've never, either I have a bad memory, and you've mentioned your name in a video before, or I'm just deaf. I don't know, but I apologize that I don't actually know your name, but your channel name, I know your channel name, so at least I can mention that to people. And also there's one other person, sorry, that I want to give a shout out to, and that is Bell Guru. Not only a shout out from me, but on behalf of a lot of other people, because she supports so many people in the Sims community, and she's always letting people know of the good job that they've done, sorry, and she also does a good job herself with her builds and things like that, so I wanted to give a shout out to her as well. But yeah, the person who has been supporting me most, though, I will say, is Zoe from 8 Cups of Tea. She is honestly amazing. She does so many awesome builds and things like that. You guys should go check out all 3 of these ladies, because they all do awesome builds and things like that. I will link all of their channels in the description box below or somewhere on the screen for you guys to go ahead and click on that and check that out. If you guys want to go and check out their channel, I highly recommend that you do, because they are really, really awesome content creators for The Sims. So now that I've gotten all of that aside, and I've been able to say all of those things that I wanted to say, we will get back to the build. So I actually did use like a reference image. It was basically like a little sketch, and I would put a picture up on the screen there so you can kind of see the reference that I went from, but I have no clue how to do that with my editing software. I sometimes wish that I had like a different editing software. The one I'm using is very simple, and it's easy to use and things like that, but there are certain features that are missing, so I can't do things like adding images. I mean, I probably could, and I just have no clue to do that, how to do that, but I have tried everything to try and figure it out in the past for my videos, and I just am clueless when it comes to doing some things on this editing software. I would really, really love to be able to invest in a new software, but we will probably have to leave that until I have a job. I do actually have a job, but I don't know what's going on there. I am not receiving any shifts, so I have searched for another job, which I also actually got a call. Technically it wasn't a call in, I received a call today from KFC. Now KFC, I've already worked with them for 3 years. When I was 17, when I had first moved to Australia, when I was 17, I went and worked at KFC. It was pretty cool. I was in Australia for about a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks all up. When I first moved here, I was in Gold Coast for about a week before moving to a little mining town, and I worked at KFC there, got the job within 2 weeks, literally walked in there, asked for, you know, whether they've got application forms or something like that, and they gave me one. When I went and handed it back in, the manager, she just read it and she was like, right, okay, what uniform size are you? I didn't even have an interview or anything like that, so that was pretty awesome. So yeah, I picked up that job really easily. And funny story, I know I said I would get back to my build, but I really want to tell you guys this story. So the very, very first day that I was working with KFC, so where I lived, sorry, because I live in Australia, I was living in a little mining town out in the middle of nowhere in the outback desert. So yes, it's very hot. It gets up to 40 degrees, sometimes a little higher than 40, or you know, it gets quite up there with the heat in the summertime. It's hot in the winter as well. So if you can imagine that it's hot in summer, imagine it being even hotter in sorry, the other way around. If it's hot in winter, then imagine how hot it would be in summer. So yeah, it does get quite hot there, and because I was fresh out in New Zealand where the weather is 20 something odd degrees in the summertime. It was quite a little bit of a culture shock for me, going from one end of the spectrum to the other in regards to the temperature of the weather and things like that. So I remember my first shift, I'm pretty sure it was at 11 o'clock. And this was back in 2013, so it was at 11 o'clock on a Saturday, I believe, or it could have been the holidays. I think it may have been the holidays, actually. Yeah, so 11 o'clock, and because it was a new town, I had no idea how long it was going to take me to get to work, because I was going to be biking to work. So I decided to get up early. I got myself ready, but because I was afraid for time that I would be late for my first shift, I decided I would skip breakfast. I would skip packing some lunch. I had no clue whether you were allowed to take water bottles, so I didn't take any water with me. Of course, because I only just got the job, I had no money on me. So yeah, I basically biked to work so it was January, so that is the hottest time of the year. So it would have been up in the probably somewhere between 38 upwards degrees Celsius. I forgot to mention it was in Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So yeah, and by the time I got to work, it was really hot, and I don't know, I wasn't prepared, because they were teaching me how to make burgers, and because I was out the back, there were hot fryers, there was, holding cases with the hot food, we had Bay Marines with all the chicken and things like that in it, and so on top of it being really, really hot with the weather, it was also very, very, very hot in the workplace itself, because of all of the, all of the cooking or warming, equipment and things like that. So I got a little bit dehydrated. It was quite funny, actually, because I had been sitting for about 2 hours beforehand, and I was okay because I was doing modules and things like that, so I didn't get straight into the work. But as soon as I was up doing the work, I remember one of the girls, she was really nice, she was teaching me how to make burgers, and I stood there, she's teaching me how to use the screen, and I stood there staring at the screen for a moment, and I could just see the screen like swaying back and forth, and I was like trying to blink my eyes because I knew I was dizzy. I could feel it coming. I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? And so I turned to the girl, she was talking to me, and all I could, her voice was kind of fading out, and I turned to her and I was like, I don't feel well. She's like, sorry, what was that? I was like, I'm dizzy. I basically just blurted out because I felt like I was about to faint. So the second time when she's like, sorry, what was that? I just blurted out and said, I'm dizzy. So she's like, oh, okay. Honestly, the rest is kind of like a blur. All I basically remember is my manager at the time, or she still works there, so she's pretty awesome. But my manager at the time, I remember she was supporting me. There was like two people, her and the girl who was teaching me how to make burgers. They were both supporting me as I was standing up so I don't fall down. Sorry, I just find this story really funny. So you had to be there to find it funny, I guess, because I was totally out of it. And they're like, oh, somebody get her some water. So they literally had to force me to drink the water, hold the bottle and basically tip it down my throat, basically. I remember it was going all over my face, my chin and my neck, because I was just so dizzy that I could not drink the water properly. And then I don't even know, the next minute I knew I was sitting in the staff room. I actually don't remember even walking to the staff room. One of them would have walked me to the staff room. What I do remember is just flopping down in the seat. They helped me sit down, but because I was so out of it and so dizzy, I basically just fell into the seat. And I remember sitting there and they're like, are you okay? And I was just blank for ages, staring at them, because everything was so dizzy. I was aware for the most part of what was going on, but I just couldn't react to it. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't really move, and I didn't really know, like, some of the things I didn't notice were happening and things like that. So I just realized, just like, oh, what? And then, yeah, about 5 minutes later, I came right. They said, it's okay, you know what, sit down for a while, just get yourself, just take a little rest and things like that. And then see how you feel afterwards. It's like, okay, and they gave me some food, because I didn't have any food, no water or anything like that. And then after that half an hour, I got back up and I came back out, and my manager's like, are you okay? You can go home if you want, and take the rest of the day off if you're not feeling well. I was like, no, it's okay, I'm alright now. I was just a little bit dizzy just then. I said to her, I think it's just because I was really dehydrated. And it's so funny because I stayed at KFC for 3 years, so I did end up becoming quite good friends with a lot of the managers. And my manager, one time we were talking about it, and she was recalling that day, and she's like, I remember that day when you almost fainted. I seriously thought you would not last working at KFC. I thought you would probably be one of those people who we hire and then quits within like a week or something. I was like, no. I just got super dizzy. The heat was too much for me, and I told her, because she didn't realize this until like a while later, that I came to work without eating, and I didn't bring any water, and I biked to work, so that didn't help either. And the funny thing was, though, at the end of the day when I finished my shift, they were like, are you okay? Because I was biking home, so like, are you okay to bike home? I was like, yeah, no, don't worry, I'm totally fine. And they're like, oh, okay then, alright, we'll see you next time. I was like, yeah, sure. So yeah, that's basically the story. I rocked up home. I seriously, guess what happened today? My dad's like, what? I almost fainted at work. He's like, wow, okay. I was like, yeah, I know. Way to make a first impression on your first day. But you know what? It didn't really affect me any other shifts, because I learned from my mistake and I decided to eat breakfast, to take water and things like that. And yeah, I was alright from then on. But you know what? I think it's mainly due to the whole difference between the temperatures and things. And there were so many factors that would have contributed to me ending up the way I did that day. So yeah, that's basically my little story of the day. And I know that took me so long to get out, but if you know me, you probably know that, like, well, I don't think anybody who watches this personally knows me, like, personally as a meme and things like that. But for those who do personally know me, like, everybody knows that I am such a talkative person, and I can literally talk for ages. So when I tell stories, it does take me quite a while to finish the story, because I just blab and blab and blab and blab. But you know what? I think it's kind of a cool idea to sometimes tell stories, especially, sorry, with the fact that I'm doing this build today, and it is so long, and pretty much I'm just creating the shell of the castle. But yeah, now that I'm telling you this, now that I've told you the story, I should actually get back to the build. So we're doing a lot of saving, as you have probably noticed during this build. Hopefully I didn't cause too much distraction from you guys watching the build to my little story just then. But we're doing so much saving because just before I started this build, my computer kept, what's the word? It kept crashing. So, well, not the computer, the game kept crashing. So I was like, oh, you know what? I don't want this to happen again. So we're going to continue to just save and save and save. And you guys may have noticed that there are a few parts missing from this video, and that is because when I was building it, I took a break for a while and I stopped the recording, and then I came back with it, and I decided to do like a little bit of experimenting with all these shapes and these little pools there that are supposed to be lakes. So yeah, I did a little bit of experimenting with those, and the reason why I didn't film it is because I didn't actually think I was going to like it, but I actually liked the idea, so I kept them, and I was like, dang it, I should have recorded it. But I didn't, unfortunately, which kind of sucks, but hopefully there is still enough footage for you guys to get the main idea and to see most of the build, in a sense. I really wasn't too sure what I was going to do. Like, you saw at the very beginning, I had like a big wall, like a big giant castle wall, because I was planning to put like a moat there, but I decided to come up with this idea instead, because I was going to put like a giant courtyard and I could see it wasn't really working, so I wanted to try and do something more organic. And when I say organic, I was just trying to make irregular shapes and things like that, and things that weren't so symmetrical in a sense, because I feel like they wouldn't have been that symmetrical back in those days. And I mean, this turned out nothing like the original reference that I had. The original reference is so much different than what I've come up with. It was looking a little crazy at first. I kept looking at it, and I was asking my family members. I asked 2 of my brothers and my dad. I was like, does this look funny? Because I felt like there was just something not right with it. And then my brother, he finally gave me the answer. He said, the reason why it looks funny is because because I was saying it's out of proportion. There's something wrong with it. And he goes, well, the reason why it looks funny is because it's not quite a triangular shape. So you'll see later on that it starts to form sort of like a triangle, and it looks like a little bit of a lopsided triangle. So what I mean by triangle is the layout of all of these little towers and things like that, the placings of them. They look a little bit odd in the sense of where I've placed them, and because you can see here it's sort of forming like half a triangle right now. It's not a perfect triangle shape, but it has the overall shape of a triangle if you were to go ahead and like decide that it was a shape or something. Not too sure if I'm explaining that well enough, or if that is even making sense. But we do get there in the end. So here we are. You can see that it's sort of forming more of a triangle. The main issue was, I think, is that these towers that I am putting in right now, they were too far forward. So I do pull them back a little bit, and I add in some more of those, more of the organic shapes, the land mass that I wanted to put in there. And we do also add a lot more little lakes or pool tools, because I wanted this to be, very... I mean, if you've seen the title of the video, it's called Glasslake Kingdom Palace. I mean, at least that's what I think I'm going to call it. But yeah, so given by the name, you would think there would be plenty of lakes and things. And I thought Glasslake was a cool name. I actually I was having a conversation with Zoe from 8 Cups of Tea about this, about having difficulty trying to come up with names for videos and things like that. And literally I came across this name because I found this online generator. I can't remember what I typed in. I think I typed in like castle names or something like that, and then it came up with this name generator for fantasy names, or like generator fantasy name or something like that. So that's what I used, and I was just clicking through until I found something I like. I was like, you know what, Glasslake suits. And then Kingdom Palace, that just came on its own, because it's basically, I didn't want to call it a castle so much, because of all the lakes. I feel like castles don't have lakes, palaces or kingdoms have lakes. So that's why I chose to have Kingdom Palace, because originally it was just going to be Glasslake Palace, but it sounds a little bit lame. Kingdom sort of just steps it up a notch, at least I think so. I hope you guys think so too. But we were experimenting a bit with some of the roofing, simply because on some of these towers the roofing just would not work. So I did have to try and be a little bit more creative with those. As you can see, there was so many shapes going on underneath and things, like underneath all this land mass. I do plan on using some of this land as some building. Some of it may probably just be empty, more focused. Like the empty areas will probably be more focused towards all the lakes, like where the lakes are sitting and things like that. But I will try and have like a lot of, because I feel like you would have things underneath the towers as well, because it's quite spread out, and I wanted something to somehow join some of those towers together. They don't all have to be joined. I figured that some of these towers obviously are going to be separate, because I wanted it to be more like a communal area as well. So perhaps this is like a... Okay, let's just talk about Zelda for a moment. Let's just pretend, because this is the first person that has popped into my head, let's just pretend that this is Zelda's little palace, because she's a really good princess. She's nice, obviously. So I figured that she would have, a big communal area where people can go in. I mean, if Link can get into her castle, then I'm pretty sure that other people can get in there as well. So yeah, I'm thinking that it would be like a communal area where people from the public can come in, like they're welcome to walk in the castle grounds. Maybe they've got little carts and they like to sell flowers. I don't know. Is that what they did in the old days back in the oh my gosh, I cannot remember the era at the moment. It's like I cannot remember the era of castles and things like that. If you guys remember or know the name of the era, just let me know in the comments, because it's just totally shot my mind right now and I cannot remember at all. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little speed build. It is only the part 1 of the castle build. There is plenty of landscaping that I want to do as well. I will try and fit as much of it as possible in a video, but the amount of landscaping I want to do in this build, I have a feeling it would probably, if I were to include all of it, it would probably make one whole video in itself. So I might cut that down a little bit. We'll see how it goes, because I haven't quite done a lot of the landscaping yet. I've done some, but not a lot. But yeah, I probably will be editing another video as well, as I do have more footage, so you guys can check this out. But after that, I will have to go ahead and continue building some more on this build, because I do have a couple of builds going at the same time. So I have had a break from the castle, and I think I should now get back onto the castle, because it has been about a week, I think, since I worked on this one. So yeah, anyway guys, we are coming up to the ending of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, remember to give the video a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you guys all next time. Bye!